Kaufman is Alive YouTube channel. I look at comic books new and old. Today I'm looking at a new comic book, Uncanny X-Men number 5. This is Legacy number 705 by Marvel Comics. It's a $4.99 comic book. It's written by Gail Simone. David Marquez is on the cover and the interiors. It's a pretty nice cover here with Gambit, the cat dad, being surrounded by some creeps with some swords here. Pretty awesome looking cover. It's got that classic comic book aesthetic of, some hands and figures around the borders here surrounding our main character. You see that kind of page layout a lot. I like how the logo's going like right with the sword here too, like in diagonal. Pretty cool. Little chandelier up here. I love all the cats that are all just like ready to pounce. Pretty cool cover. I love Gambit. Awesome character. This team's been pretty cool. I like this X-Men team. It's a kind of a stripped down X-Men team. And they've got some new characters that they've brought in as well. We've got Rogue, Gambit, Wolverine, Nightcrawler, Jubilee. Those are the original 4 X-Men. And we got 4 new X-Men. Jitter, Ransom, Death Dream, and Calico. Calico's actually not a mutant. I believe that she's like an Asgardian, a Valkyrie of some sort. So, although I don't think that's been proven yet in the story, but where we last left off, this new villain named Sarah Gaunt, she's been thrashing the most powerful X-Men, Wolverine and now Rogue. And pretty awesome splash page here of Rogue. Her hand's been ripped off of her body there by this Sarah Gaunt character. And Rogue's been left for dead. Sarah Gaunt coming back here to pick the bones of Rogue. But in Rogue's mind, she realizes Sarah's coming. She's saying, get up, but she can't. As Sarah starts to cut her forehead, and we see blood dripping down. It's really creepy, really gross. Awesome Rogue face here. I feel like David Marquez is just doing some incredible work here. I think this will be some real standout stuff a few years down the line, in my opinion. It's got a pretty heavy anime influence. You can tell in some of these faces here. But just some really awesome pencil work, some memorable stuff here. And we get these new mutants being introduced in this book. Another great splash page here. Love the pose Logan is in here. He's lost his eyes. I like this character's costume here. He's got like a grifter style mask. What's this guy's name? I'm trying to remember. I can't remember all these guys' names. This is Ransom is his name. So Ransom, grifter. Maybe a similar style character. I don't know. But I think these new X-Men too possibly could become some cult favorites, so to speak. I kind of hope to see them get their own X-Men title eventually, honestly. Maybe throw Harvey X in there too, who's another new character. This was a character who died back in issue 1. He was a sick child, and the X-Men went to go visit him, and while they were visiting him, he had like this telekinetic breakdown and died right in front of the X-Men, and hinted at some other things that were going to be happening. He said the word endlings, so we know I feel like the next story arc is going to kind of revolve around who the endling is. We know it's one of these new mutants, so who's apparently going to maybe end all of mutant kind or all of existence if the X-Men don't figure out what's going on. But anyway, so this Harvey character did touch Rogue's hand back in that first issue, and unbeknownst to her, he gave Rogue his powers. And he has some regenerative powers. So Rogue's able to make her big comeback here after being basically completely thrashed by this Sarah Gaunt character. And Sarah Gaunt has this whole legion of like a faceless horde for the other X-Men to battle, basically. All these demonic-like characters. So the X-Men get into this big giant battle with them. It feels like a pretty epic conclusion to like a giant story arc or a mini series. So in that sense, I think it works pretty well. But I feel like this whole storyline probably could have been condensed into 1 or 2 issues. Dragging it out to 5 issues, I feel like, was a bit long-winded. We're still dealing with this same villain, Sarah Gaunt, 5 issues in. I prefer the old school kind of style of comic books, back in like the original X-Men run, where it's like issue 1, we were introduced to Magneto, we battle him. Issue 2, you get the Vanisher, then you get like Juggernaut and Mimic, and like each issue you're introduced to new characters. And I know it's a little different because these are all established characters and an established team already, so they're using the already established characters. But here we are bringing in new characters, like these new X-Men, like Calico, Death Dream, Ransom, Jitter, and so I just feel like that would be a good way to go. So the X-Men here are also getting beaten down by this giant army, but back in the first issue again, Gambit picked up the Eye of Agamotto, so he uses that to take them all out, basically. Harvey's explaining to Rogue, this is all in Rogue's head too. Harvey used his power to place all of these thoughts into Rogue's mind when she would need to use them. And he's saying all he ever wanted to be was an X-Man. So this is his way of kind of becoming an X-Man, was giving Rogue his powers and letting Rogue make the comeback here against Sarah Gaunt. And Harvey also tells Rogue that he sent all these new mutants to the X-Men to protect them from Sarah Gaunt. So we get the big conclusion here of everything that's been going on in this book so far, including the callback to Harvey X in the first issue. We learned who Sarah Gaunt was in some flashbacks, that she has a past with Charles Xavier. So, and Gambit getting the Eye of Agamotto as well back in the first issue from that giant dragon. All of that coming back into play in this issue. So a good conclusion, and Rogue's able to stop Sarah Gaunt, breaks her arms here, kind of like how Sarah Gaunt did to Rogue back at the beginning. And then he takes her and brings Sarah Gaunt back to this main character who's taken over the old X-Mansion and turned it into a giant prison. And this is where the next storyline is going to be going, as the X-Men from Alaska, Cyclops' team, will be descending on this Grey Malkin prison to break out some X-Men that are in prison, while Rogue's team will be coming for another reason, it seems like. So we'll be finding out shortly, and the next few issues. So I do like this series a lot. Both X-Men series I am a fan of at this point. I don't think I like them quite as much as the early Krakoan era of X-Men, which really kind of brought me back into comics, seeing this whole new paradigm of like Apocalypse and Sinister all teaming up with the X-Men, all the mutants being on the same side, I thought was really interesting. So I feel like these X-Men comics aren't doing anything new, but they're just telling some pretty solid X-Men stories. So thanks again for watching. I've got daily comic book reviews, got 100 reviews at least on my channel, so go check those out if you haven't yet. And if you like videos like this, please subscribe and like. And I will see you guys on the next one.